Guys, a lot has changed in Edge of Fate when it comes to making your PvP build and what PvP stats to invest into. We're going to sit down and talk about it all. This is going to be advice for every character: your Titan, your Hunter, your Warlock. I'm gonna give you some before and afters when it comes to the stats and what stats are really important now, maybe even meta. This is version 1 of my Titan build as well, so things are subject to change as we learn more. Okay, so I have some good news and I have some bad news. I'll give you the good news first. It is much easier to obtain the max cooldowns that you would be used to before Edge of Fate, and you can even surpass them. Bungie told us that before Edge of Fate, running 100 grenades, 100 melee, 100 class ability cooldown would be the equivalent of running 70 stat points here in Edge of Fate. And the good news is you can also make those cooldowns even faster. Here on the screen, I'll show you my stat points now. You can see that I was aiming to get my grenades, my melee, my class ability as close to 70 as possible so that I felt like I had that OG fast cooldown. Now, if I really wanted to make a playstyle that focused on getting faster class abilities or even faster grenade cooldowns, then you would be able to tweak those numbers and go beyond 70, which would be surpassing the original tier 10 back before Edge of Fate. It's important to note that even though you can increase your cooldowns all the way to 100, you will still have benefits inside of Crucible when buffing your stats beyond 100. When it comes to your melee and your grenades, you'll get bonus damage. And those type of setups are really more for your playstyle when you're trying to make a specific grenade build. But when it comes to Trials of Osiris specifically, I'm going to stick to more better cooldowns and also making sure that I have good survivability stats. Now, this is where you're scratching your head if you're a Hunter, Warlock, or a Titan main, trying to figure out what stats really best fit for you. So keep in mind that class ability is now tied to the Hunter dodge, to your Warlock rift, and your Titan shield. So if that's an ability that you really want and you really care for inside of Crucible, make sure it's a stat that you invest to. Keep in mind as well, if you're a Hunter, the higher your strength, the more energy you will regain when you do like a gambler's dodge, because dodging around targets no longer gives you a full melee energy charge instantly. Okay, that has changed. It is tied to your strength melee charge. All right, and the last thing that I'll cover in the good news section for you when it comes to the stats is the super. I left this one for last because it's really important. Supers have always mattered when it comes to Crucible, and so much so inside of Trials of Osiris, because it can literally win you the game or cost you the game. This stat I find to be extremely important, more important than my other cooldowns, and some might say that it's always been that way. So here is how the super, the intellect stat, used to work before Edge of Fate. The higher your stat, the faster you would get your super. And this was tied to time, but also tied to the damage that you would do with your weapons, and especially primary ammo type weapons, because those will give you super energy really quickly. Inside of Edge of Fate, it works different now. Everyone has the same base cooldown for the super, so what does the intellect stat really do? Well, it is tied to how fast you regain your super based on the damage you're doing, especially with those primary ammo types. And this causes a weird situation in Crucible where if you're not investing enough stats into your super, you actually won't really get a super inside of Crucible games. This is a big red flag when it comes to playing Trials of Osiris, so that's why I'm aiming to get my intellect stat / super stat all the way to 100. Just keep in mind that the stat bonuses are also just linear now, so whether you're running 99 intellect versus 100 super, there's not really a big of a difference. Just don't really recommend going beyond 100 at this point. With the good news out of the way, it's time for me to share the bad news. So before Edge of Fate, you could adjust the mobility stat, and that doesn't exist anymore, and it would impact your strafe speed, how high you jumped, and this is really important for Hunters as well. Well, in Edge of Fate, you can't really change that all that much. Titans and Warlocks are locked to tier 3 mobility, and Hunters are locked to tier 4 mobility. So if you are someone that loves to run a super crack high mobility speed, well, too bad. The good news is that there is a mod called Enhanced Athletics on your boots that will actually improve your base movement speed and your jump height for those that really care about it. Personally, I'm not going to run that because running tier 3 mobility was already something I was used to running on my Titan and my Warlock. The other bad news is the recovery stat. So recovery has been changed to be health stat, but it doesn't quite work the same. In the original version of recovery stat, you could just go from 0 to 100, and 100 giving you like a 6-second recovery speed. It was pretty fast, and if you watched any PvP video, you would know how much I prioritize the recovery stat. In Edge of Fate, now everybody is locked to tier 6 recovery, and that is really slow. It feels awful. I can tell you that after a few games of playing Crucible, I was immediately noticing that people were not patient enough to regen their health. So what I'm going to share with you is an insane tip that will elevate your gameplay and your build to the next level and will make you a much better player. And that tip is investing into the health stat. So as you saw my stats, you saw that I had a bunch of points added to that specific one, and there's a good reason for that. From 0 to 100, you're not really adjusting your health recovery speed at all, but beyond 100, you actually get some additional benefits. After 100 stats, you get to improve the shield regeneration rate of your character. And this literally works just like it would when you're buffing your recovery stat in the past. So that means the only way to get faster health regen is to put in so many points into that stat. On the screen, you're going to see the health regen when I'm like only 100 health. And then you also see the health regen speed when I'm beyond 100 health. The difference is crazy, to be honest. I find the minimum to be 130 health to be a nice little spot to end at. If your armor allows you to, and you have those significant stat increases from your armor build, you can go up to 150, and that feels powerful. By this point, you notice that I've completely ignored a specific stat, and you're scratching your head wondering because when Edge of Fate came out, this weapon stat was really popular. It was a hot topic, and it still is. Weapon stat allows you to increase your reload speed and your handling up to 100, and then beyond 100 stats, you actually get damage bonus. While still somewhat impactful, it seems that you have to invest a lot more points to really get some benefits on some of the weapon archetypes that would definitely benefit from that stat. And this is going to be the first trials weekend, so things are subject to change. Health stat might not be as important as we thought it would be, and weapon stat might become the dominant way to play because most people would rather just, I don't know, pre-aim a lane with a high damage weapon and not care too much about how much health regen they have. With the stat topic out of the way, let me show you my subclass. So I'm running the Bastion Overshield aspect. Gives me HP and my teammates really nice. Control demo to apply the volatile effect, super helpful here. Scatter-nades, shield throw, which recently got a better tracking buff. Strafe lift, tar and barricade, sentinel shield. You can pretty much run any super now since it's just kind of tied to your super stat along with the damage that you do. The fragments, I got Echo Dilation, Echo of Leeching, Echo Expulsion, and Echo of Starvation. This last fragment, Starvation, is going to give you an idea, a little peek at a PvP player's mind, because running fragments, mods, exotics, yada yada yada, that help you with health regen are going to be a key part for Crucible nowadays, since your recovery stat you can tweak in the stats, but now it's kind of locked at tier 6 unless you invest a lot into health. So Starvation, in this example, I pick up a Void Breach or an Orb of Power, I get Devour health, which is also nice for kill chaining. So that's a subclass that I'm specifically running on my tie-in. I do have some exotics to recommend for all characters, so are you ready? Listen up. On my tie-in, the top 3 that I'm really paying attention to right now: One-Eyed Mask. You get a defeat on a target, you get health regen and an overshield. Sounds really helpful for kill chaining, and it's always been a good exotic whether you take it to trials or 6v6. Another exotic is going to be Dune Marchers. So Dune Marchers is super clutch because you can't really change the mobility stat all that much, but Dune Marchers is going to give you that faster sprint speed and that higher mobility kind of vibe that you would probably want. And the third exotic is going to be one of my personal favorites, Heart of Inmost Light. This one's going to be even better now because the ability cooldowns are off the charts. With the Heart of Inmost Light, you can get your grenades and your melees faster, your barricade faster, and you can give your abilities more damage too, which sounds like a good time. For the hunter, I have 3 exotics to recommend. One that comes to mind right away is Wormhusk Crown. Yes, this Wormhusk exotic has always been super good, but even more so in this new era of Crucible, because dodging gives you health and you are pretty much regening your health instantly compared to someone else who still has to wait for their tier 6 recovery to kick in. Another exotic is going to be the Stompies, because of course, who doesn't love Stompies? Being able to improve that jump and then also the mobility benefits that you get from playing with that exotic are very nice, especially because hunters, we're gonna hate feeling stuck at tier 4. And the last exotic is really a toss-up between Dragon Shadow and Radiant Dance Machines. Dragon Shadow got an insane glow up giving you so much handling benefits, but I think I'm gonna give this one to the Radiant Dance machines because people love the hipfire bonuses that you would get with those exotics. And for the warlock, the 3 exotics that I would recommend, first one that comes to mind is the Fedian Aspect. This exotic has always been top tier, giving you extra handling, reload speed. The beautiful thing about this exotic in Edge of Fate is that it's going to allow you to completely ignore the weapon stat and just go all out on the other stats, because why would you need handling from the weapon stat when you have Ophids, right? The next exotic is going to be the Transversive Steps. These exotics, the movement-based exotics, the stocks went up, right? Because Warlocks and Titans, we're stuck at tier 3 mobility. So using those movement exotics like Transversive Steps is going to help a lot. It's going to make the gameplay feel a lot more faster for you. And the last exotic is honestly a personal favorite of mine, and I don't think is that popular within Warlocks, but it's Eye of Another World. So this one helps your cooldowns for your grenade, melee, and rift. And I can't imagine how insane the cooldowns would be when you invest a lot into those stats beyond 70 and you slap on that exotic too. Wow, you probably have a lot of abilities. Okay, so we're at the last section of the video, and this is going to cover the mods and the artifact as well. So not much has changed when it comes to choosing the mods. You typically just want to use the ones that match the element of your primary weapon. So let's take, for example, Hawkmoon and my helmet. So since Hawkmoon is a kinetic type, I'm going to use kinetic targeting, and I like to use the Insight Compensator mod for AE. If I'm running a Void hand cannon like Exalted Truth, and on my gauntlets I want to improve the stats of that gun, I would use a Void Loader and a Void Dexterity. If I'm running a solar weapon like Polaris Lance and I'm looking at my chest piece, I'm going to use Solar Anti-Flinch mods. For the boots, I'm focused on getting a bunch of ability cooldowns back, so that comes in the form of Invigoration and Innervation. Personally, in this setup, I'm running Insulation instead because Orbs of Power will already give me Devour because of my subclass. And then of course we got the class items, so this one's going to be for your cooldowns as well in the form of Bomber and Outreach. And then the last one, I still like to run Reaper so that whenever I pop a class ability, I make an Orb of Power if I get a defeat. I'm gonna have a couple shoutouts here for the mods on the artifact. Keep in mind, Fever and Chill. You get rapid precision hits with a solar weapon, it gives you radiant, that's bonus damage. This same mod says that if you get rapid precision hits with stasis weapons, you get frost armor, which can combo with other mods on your artifact, such as Frigid Glare. So when you get a precision final blow, you're gonna release a freezing burst. Still not sure if that works in Crucible, but if it does, keep that in mind. Another quick shout out here is going to be to strand builds and strand elemental weapons. If you make a tangle and you shoot it with a strand weapon, that tangle blast is going to be insane. And if it works like it used to in the past, it should one-shot kill guardians near it. And that is pretty much it. So this is all a version 1 video pretty much of the stats, the exotics, the builds. So if there's any advice and tips that you want to contribute to making a version 2 a more defined build and way of playing the game for PvP, the new meta that we have yet to really find, you can talk to me in the comments down below. Make sure you like the video. Anyways, thanks for watching.